All right, today we coming to you with an episode of the Wisecrack, and we got two guests with us, right? These are repeat guests, right? And I love these people right here because they are one, they're ambitious, they're motivated, they're goal crushers, they got a lot going on, and then they're from the lovely state of North Dakota. So without further ado, I got Barry and Maya from Windshield Hero. So what's good, y'all? How y'all doing?
Good.
We're doing pretty good.
There you go. Well, it's been a minute since I seen y'all and talked to y'all, right? So we got some accomplishments that's happened, right? Did somebody graduate recently? Like, how's that?
Yes, I've graduated my bachelor's in accounting.
There you go. Got an accountant right there. There we go. See, crushing goals.
Yeah.
So, with that, talking about crushing goals and doing things, right? 1 year anniversary. Y'all been in business for a year, right? So I wanted to tap in and talk to y'all about what it's been like being in the windshield repair industry for a year and to kind of help other people out there who might be trying to get involved in the windshield repair industry or who have questions and could hear y'all's story and y'all's journey, right? So my first question to y'all was, what's the single biggest challenge or challenges y'all have faced trying to grow the business?
Well, I'll start it off by saying, mm, although excitement is a good thing and it's great, sometimes excitement can get you into a little bit of trouble. For us, in the beginning, we were so excited, we were just hitting the ground running faster
Mhm,
than we could replenish our energy.
mhm,
But we tried opening like so many locations that in even in different states
mhm,
and without really taking into consideration all the logistics. Like even
mhm,
though I have a business degree, now Maya has a business degree. Um, we have an understanding of how business and structures go and
mhm,
and different things like that. But um, you got to think about employees. How are they going to handle things? How are they going to be
mhm,
trained? How to handle different
mhm,
problems and situations? So it was good. We expanded, but we had to dial back a little bit and close a couple locations because of how complicated that whole process was.
right.
Um, and so that was one of our biggest challenges. I think another one is employee issues,
Mhm,
theft,
Yeah.
as well as like Maya had a medical emergency with one of our employees too.
mhm.
Yes,
Yeah.
I have a diabetic emergency with one of my employees, and
Mhm.
I have to go out and call 911 to save his life.
Oh man.
Not a very fun experience,
Right.
but glad to
But no,
say that he's doing well.
yeah. Well, no, I appreciate y'all's transparency because that's what I wanted to give people like the real and the raw, right? So people like to get involved and get set up with windshield repair. And depending on your business model, that may well change to what you're doing from a standalone location to having tent locations to whatever it may well be, right? So I just wanted to let other people hear y'all story because it's best to hear from people who are out there doing it. And I appreciate y'all for that, right? So talking about that, that's one of the challenges. Looking back at your initial business plan, was there a major aspect that changed significantly within the first year, or what were some things that could have changed for you all?
Well, the business plan was pretty well thought out before we actually got into the business. I did a lot of the work while I was teaching. I was actually teaching at a college as a professor there, teaching
Mhm,
business
mhm,
and doing things with our students on business plans. And so I had developed a strong and excellent business plan, an excellent strategy, developed our
mhm,
logo, our marketing plan, all of that. But a lot of that was done before we actually were doing the work. And
mhm,
so we had to make some changes along the way,
mhm,
just as you get to know the market, get to know who your customers are. Maya was not really heavily involved in a lot of that in the beginning because she
mhm,
was also full time at the time
mhm.
in finance. But she was heavily involved in the actual hands-on approach to the work, being out
Right.
there training employees, running our location, or helping with a location that we opened up new, or
Mhm,
vice versa. But the business plan it has to be adaptable. When you're getting into this market,
Mhm,
you have to realize that each location's different, each city is a little different, so how you do your marketing is gonna change,
mhm,
as well as the things that you have no control of, like the regulations, the rules, the
mhm,
taxation laws. I mean, from South Dakota, North Dakota, and
mhm.
Montana, everything's different, and so you
Right.
have to be willing to adapt, but not just in that larger sense, but even in between the smaller locations too.
Right.
Some location or areas will be really busy, and
Mhm,
others you got to do a little bit more, you know, building that business and that brand. But I guess the point that I'm trying to make here, Corey, for everybody that's kind of watching, is that you have to have a fluid business structure while you're
mhm,
starting out, because it's going to be different from what we do to what
mhm,
someone's going to do on the East Coast, on the West Coast, or South Coast,
mhm.
and be open to that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, nah, that makes sense. Like I always tell people, you gotta one stay relevant, raise awareness, educate people. You're constantly selling yourself, you're selling your brand, you're selling your business. And with Windshield Repair, you got like 15 minutes to do a repair. But within that next 45 minutes, let's try to get our next customer, right. And with getting our next customer, we want to build awareness, educate people, and do all those things and more so we can get to the next repair and grow our business. So appreciate y'all for that information on that part of it. And another question I had for you was, what was a valuable lesson you learned about entrepreneurship throughout your first year?
So I'll share one, and I'll get my wife to share a valuable lesson about entrepreneurship. One of the and I wrote this down because there's so many things you learn. But I figured for everybody watching right now, one of the most important things you need to have is a way to uplift yourself, a way to encourage yourself, whether that's a hobby or a project that makes you happy,
Mhm.
or something you can do with somebody that just lifts your spirits. And the reason being is not every day is going to be the same, right?
Right.
Every sales day is going to be as great as you hope. And then there's going to be these days where you're like, holy crap, I just broke the sales record, you know?
Right.
But with everything that happens as an entrepreneur, one of the biggest things that people encounter is a setback. And
Mhm.
when you encounter a setback, you have a decision. Are you going to overcome it, or are you going to let it overcome you?
Mhm.
And so, like I said, we've had like a $350 weekend. We've had a $4,500 weekend. We've had big weekends, but we had those times where, say, I made a mistake on a repair, and now it's cracked out 4 or 5 inches, right?
Mhm.
How do you deal with that? Even though you have the customer who signs off that
Mhm.
unfortunately, due to unstable properties of broken glass, it could crack out, right?
Right.
But how do you deal with that mentally when you go home? And I've had people reach out to me, people that have learned about us on other shows or on your show earlier, that have said, "Hey, I made a mistake and I feel bad." You have to have that ability to uplift yourself, because
Mhm.
mistakes happen. Maybe
Right.
your employee will make a mistake. I've made mistakes. I've fixed mistakes. I mean, I've had to
Mhm.
replace chilled because we didn't get a form signed properly.
Right.
Like, there are situations that happen, but you need
Mhm.
that thing in your life that
Mhm.
keeps you going, right? So
Yeah.
that's for me.
Yeah.
On my end, I was more into the accounting side of everything.
Mhm.
So, learning how to properly navigate, um, all of the internal processes, the external
Right.
processes, like submitting our taxes,
Mhm.
or even just keeping up with
Mhm.
the amount of bookkeeping,
Right.
because it's something that you might not expect with, like, a small business, is how many expenses you have.
Mhm.
So, finding ways to make that process easier was
Mhm.
kind of my way on how to deal with it, and
Mhm.
also making sure that you've got a great support system like I have here.
There you go. Yeah. Nah, I feel both of y'all on that. Like your mental health is wealth, right? So you got to take care of yourself. You got to have things to balance you out, uplift you. Because with windshield repair, like y'all say, you face rejection, right? So you say you're in a tent location. You approach 10 people, right? And all 10
Mhm.
reject you within that hour. And you're like, damn, how's the rest of my day gonna go out? Am I gonna let this like be my day where I'm just rejecting? In the next hour, you get 10 people come up and 3 people get a rock chip, right? Get a rock chip repaired,
Yeah.
and you're good. Or you have a day where you out and you're running a run where you're doing a car dealership and you show up and they had 10 repairs this week, but next week they only had two. So trying to handle those things from the ups and downs, you got to figure out, it's kind of like an athlete. You got to stay even keel. You got to, just go with the flow, but understand that I'm still trying to grow my business and do my thing, but mentally I can't let it get to me and break me. So appreciate y'all for sharing that, because a lot of people, they deal with the mental health side of it where they like, this isn't for me. I'm not cut out for it anymore. I'm burnt out, or I'm struggling now because I've been rejected. I didn't hit what I wanted to hit, but just understanding that tomorrow is a new day and you got another chance at, getting to where you ultimately want to go. But I always try to tell people, and me and Brent talk about this a lot. Hard work is undefeated. If you put the hard work in and got the dedication, you'll get to where you want to be. It might not happen on your time. It's going to happen on God's time when it's supposed to be. So what's going to be is going to be. So just do your part. So appreciate y'all for saying that. And next question for you that I had right here. If y'all could go back to day one, what's one bit of advice you would give yourself?
I think for me, and this might not be, like, very beneficial for everybody to hear, but,
Mhm,
it is important, so, um, it would be to have a better strategic plan. I mean, it's
mhm,
one thing to have a business plan, but if this is something you wanna do and grow and expand, it's a good idea to have a strategic plan, because then you're dealing with more than just the business
mhm,
idea goals. You're also dealing with your vision and how you're going to attain your goals and your vision, and so one of the things that I would wanna do is have somebody there that could help you through that process, right?
mhm,
Um, don't be afraid to look into a mentor or
mhm,
people can help you through these stages.
mhm,
In the beginning, it's fine to get started and just get going and bring in
mhm,
that income. Once you have that income, really look into how can you strategically take this to the next step. One
mhm,
of the things we did is we went to Auto Glass Week, we represented Delta Kits, we're super excited about that sponsorship also for this year, but, we met people over there that, have been really instrumental in encouraging us or giving us
mhm.
ideas. I mean, we had a mystery dinner, and I think that was probably my highlight of the whole weekend,
That was good.
Mhm.
beside the actual competition and heading off.
Say that the mystery dinner was the best part of the week for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We met some great people who had various challenges and ways to overcome them. So we pick and pull ideas from each other, and you realize that the auto glass community isn't really as competitive as people say. It's actually a big family of people. You
Mhm.
do have to be competitive in your business in your hometown, but the reality is if you look for people who want to help you, they are there.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, nah, that's true. Like the auto glass industry, people from all over, from all the different Facebook groups and stuff, everybody's all about helping each other. Yeah, it does get tricky when you got people in your area because, like, y'all are competition. But for the most part, people want to see each other win and want to help people win and want to help you if they can help you, from a simple VIN lookup to a simple tip of here's what I did with this repair or this replacement. So it's a helpful industry. It's just got to know the right people, and you know pretty quickly who for you, who not for you. But that is that. But yeah, shout out to everybody online who helps other people out. Shout out to y'all for giving advice to people. I know people hit me up and say, "Hey, you got that info?" I was trying to reach out, or they say they had saw something you posted or something you said that actually helped them. So shout out to y'all for helping people, and shout out to people for helping you all. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was funny at the competition last year, um, for some reason, our kit was missing a cork, right?
Mhm,
And so I was like, "Oh, I need to polish my pit." So I was
mhm,
like, "What am I gonna do?" Well, I
mhm.
just went to somebody who was, set up a booth. I was like, "Hey, can I borrow that?" They're like, "Yes, here you go."
Yeah.
And it's like, people are always there to help, and yes,
Mhm.
absolutely. Shout out to all those, individuals who help others, and
Yeah.
to all the businesses who are there to support one another, because there is enough out there if you if you actually open your eyes.
Yeah, yeah. Nah, that's true story. So talking about Auto Glass Week, Auto Glass Week this year is in Reno. It's the week is September 9th through 11th. So for anyone who's never been to Auto Glass Week, especially if you're on the West Coast, it's the first time it's going back to the West Coast in 10 years. So check that out. You can go to autoglassweek.com for that. And with it being Auto Glass Week, they have competitions from the customer service competition, calibrations, windshield replacements, and windshield repair. So the two of you all this year are gonna compete in the windshield repair Olympics. So how excited are y'all for that? And what's your thoughts on getting your mind right and preparing to compete?
I'm really excited. It's gonna be my first time competing. Um, I'm probably gonna pick Barry's brain quite a lot
Hmm.
in some of those exam questions, and also just kinda getting the hands-on experience that I'd need to really up my game for the
Yeah.
competition.
There you go, Barry. So this your second go round, brother. How you feeling? Yeah, I know you're making the commitment again to do it. How you feeling leading up to it?
I'm excited. One of the things this time that makes it so much less, I guess, scary,
Hmm.
for lack of a better word right now, is that now I know what to expect,
Right.
and so with that being said, I'm going to be much more prepared. And the great thing is they did release our results to
Hmm.
everybody, and
Hmm.
so yeah, being competitor number 20, I got fifth place. And so when I see that, I'm like, okay, coming in, just starting in February in the coldest place in the United States, you
Right.
know, in in the fall already competing and getting that in that position, it just really shows that if you have a heart for what you're doing,
Hmm.
and that's yeah, I have a heart for these customers. Every time I see a windshield, that needs repair work, I think about what would this customer wanna see? And if I can't achieve that, I'm not very happy, so I always strive to do the best, and so
Hmm.
with I brought it over there, I did really well, and so now with the idea of what's gonna happen and being aware of how that actually goes,
Hmm.
I'm gonna be much more prepared, much more excited, and I can,
Hmm.
use that capacity that I had for, I guess, fear, and I
Uh-huh.
can use it now for more training, and so I'm going to be, a force to be reckoned with.
There you go, brother. But yeah, that is true. You don't know what you know until you do it, right? And sometimes once you get your feet where you're like, oh, I'm in this now, and you learn in the moment. And so I feel like the experience that you had will actually help you and go further from that first experience. But also looking at the score sheet, when you look at the scores are very close. So even though from first place to fifth place, it's just a couple points off from everybody. So it's a tight competition, but for where you're at, for what you did, and getting in it, salute to you for wanting to compete so early on because you talk to people like out there and they're like, I've been in the industry 10 years. It's my fourth time competing, or I've been doing this for who knows how long. But for you to be like, hey, I'm finna do this, get into this, because keep in mind, you just got in the industry in February and then you out here in June, July, finna compete. So short amount of time, but to do so well. Salute to you for taking your craft serious, trying to master your craft. And like you say, the one thing is I want to treat others the way I want to be treated. So I'm finna give it my all and give it all I got. So good luck to both of you all. Coming up in the competition, we'll actually be recording parts of it from the show in Reno during that week of September, and we'll check in with y'all before the competition, after the competition, and all that little bit, right? So, good luck. And before I get y'all out of here, got two more questions for you, right? Questions for you before I let y'all go, right? So, we've been in
Alright.
business for a year. Like, what are some of your biggest goals or focuses for the next year and moving forward in business?
Well, this one's a very interesting year. My wife finished school. She's also finishing her MBA this year too. And so we're trying to figure out now what that looks like in
Hmm.
terms of business or what we're going to do for that. But so that is something to consider because we're both partners in this. So we have to realize what does that look like. And so
Right.
that's going to be within the next 6 months or so. But
Yeah.
for me, I've looked at, how can I take this business in another take it to the next level, right?
Right.
And so, I've been in discussions on looking at, uh, I guess, doing replacements and how is
Hmm.
that gonna and having our distributors and a plan and all
Mhm,
that and putting that in place. And the reason being our like even though our business has been only open for a year,
mhm,
we have so many 5-star reviews that we rank really high in Google.
mhm,
And because of that, we use our own strategies for all of this, right?
mhm.
But because we do have that, we get a lot of phone calls, like, almost daily. Sometimes I'll get 4, 5, or 6 calls a day on
Right.
top of we do with windshield repair just on how can I get a replacement. And so we've
Mhm.
been, working with another guy just, giving him referrals, but there's always opportunities for growing your business. And so for this next year, it's really analyzing how can we do that? How can we take it to the next level and do it in a way that um, is, well, I guess you can't say stress free because there's always stress. There's always some
Mm.
stress when making business decisions. But how can we do that in a smart way? And so that's kind of what we're dealing with right now.
Okay. Yeah, now that makes sense. Yeah, we the same way. We run a service business in Eugene, and we get tons of emails and phone calls every day about replacements, doing something auto glass related, which is good. It tells us that the auto glass industry is thriving and it's always going to be a need for it, but it always gives you food for thought to consider. So taking that time to reflect on what's the next step, what this looks like for us. Do we want to do this, or what do we want to do, and what that all looks like and feel like is cool. But shout out to y'all for actually thinking about that and considering that. So my last question for you before I get you out of here. We always get questions from people who are looking to get started with windshield repair, and they always ask, "Why should I get started with windshield repair?" I always tell people it always depends on their setup, their situation, on why it should work for them. But if y'all could give anyone any advice that's looking to get started into windshield repair, what would it be?
Well, the first thing that I would say is to go in with such strength in your own heart and your belief in yourself. And the reason why I say that is because when you're first getting started, there are so many ways and so many opportunities where you're going to get discouraged, right? And so don't be discouraged. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to look at other solutions and opportunities. Some of the new people that start in this industry, some of them just say, "You know what? I'm not gonna put up a tent. I'm not gonna open up a location. I'm just gonna use my car and I'm gonna advertise the business and maybe just put like a little decal on the vehicle." And they do extremely well. Us,
Right,
we have 10 locations. And because of our 10 locations and building our customer base, we have to also do mobile now with our vehicle because we have a business vehicle right now that holds our stuff and we had to do that because now the name is getting out there. People call us regularly, or if the weather is a problem, then we can't just set up a tent. So we have our mobile service. But when you're getting started, yes, there's going to be challenges. You're worried. Am I going to be able to do this? Am I smart enough? Is this going to be too difficult for me? But the truth is, I'll be honest with you 100%, it is not that difficult. There
right,
are strategies. You're taught these strategies. Delta Kits has as a training video. We also train people. We've trained people with Delta Kits, but these processes are not hard to learn. You trust the process. I remember when Corey told us that when we went to,
When we
we all,
first like
yeah, we went to your place. You're like, trust the process, because I had all these questions, worries. Is it going to do this? Is it going to do that? But you trust the process. When you're also running your business, you realize that you're going to learn, you're going to become confident. One of the biggest things I tell myself is like, wow, a year ago I don't even know how to do this. Now people are constantly calling me about complicated repairs, and
right.
that's just you learn that. You become the master. No master becomes a master without first starting out. And I'm not saying I'm a master, but I definitely know how to handle very complicated repairs that other shops in town will not touch. And that's just because I have the confidence and the ability to do that. And so, for me, I would say to anybody starting out is just get in, have heart, don't give up, and reach out. We're
Yeah.
available. Corey's available. I mean, I've called Corey and shown him a repair in the beginning. Said, "How do I deal with this?" You know,
Yeah.
as well with Barry and me. I'd call
Right,
him.
right. Yeah, nah, that's what's up there. It's all about the belief in yourself, And just knowing you can do something. But you're right. You're right. It's so many resources out there for you to succeed, and it's all about just asking and just saying, "Hey, here's this question, here's that question. Run me through this scenario, that scenario." So for anyone out there looking to get involved in windshield repair, it's a ton of resources to help you out. It's a cool industry to get into. It's very cool people like Barry and Maya who's willing to help you and help you succeed. We want to see this industry thrive and grow, and we want to see everybody do good. So it's all, you might be in the same area as someone, so it's always that friendly competition, but we all can win and can all make a living out of this doing windshield repair. So appreciate y'all for being the people that you guys are, and about the insight of how your journey's been from year one to going into year two, and about coming up on Auto Glass Week. So thank you all for your time. I look forward to seeing y'all in person in Reno in a matter of months.
Thank you, Corey. We appreciate it. And good luck to everybody and all their success and ventures.
Thank
All
you,
right, no
Corey.
problem. Well, you all take care.